is up, you guys? What is up? I'm back with another episode, and we are doing something a little different. It is my first interview with my stepdad. He's running his own kennel business right now. He's from the Brooklyn Bully Cartel. That is what it's called. Say what up, my guy.
What's going on, everybody? How you guys doing? It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. His name is Jhonattan. We've known each other for a very long time. He's been with my mom for what? It's almost been about
12 years.
12 years, right? So yeah, he's been in the game. It's been about what, like 13, 12 months since you've been doing the.
Yeah, we've been doing this exotic bully thing now for a little over a year. Things is going good. We have a lot of productions dropping this year. We should be expecting 3 litters dropping, all exotic bullies. So you already know. Follow the Instagram, Brooklyn Bully Cartel. If you see something you like, hit us up with a DM and we'll take care of you guys.
If this video drops, you'll definitely see the dogs in the background a little bit. We'll, try to see if we can see him. But he has at least 3 of them here. We're not gonna go into detail that much about what dogs he's got, but that's just a little background of what he's got going on. A little explanation on why he's my very first guest and why I wanted to have him on. Me and this guy go crazy when it comes to sports. I mean, not to say that he has something against my Mets, because he's a Yankee fan.
Which I do, but
but he kind of at the same time, he's always, sometimes he comes at him, but he's also looking to to make sure that when something is being done right, because everybody knows with the Mets is more doing wrong than right. But when something is being done right, he gives them his credit. And I do the same thing with the Yankees. I don't like the Yankees, but at the end of the day, you got to acknowledge the greatness coming out of the GM and from the Steinbrenners. The Steinbrenners are one of the greatest owners in sports history. As you can see, the success from the Yankees. So I give him and all the Yankee fans credit.
Thank you.
They've been able to witness something the Mets haven't, and that's playoff success.
And 27
championships. As far, it goes the same thing with football. He is a Tom Brady fanatic.
Yes, sir.
Sad to say that he couldn't witness another ring this year because of the lack of defense after he brought him back when they were down 27-3. But the fact that you can even say that you've been able to witness 7 rings, I think that is impressive.
Well, listen, Brandon, it's been an incredibly, it's been an incredible run to be a Tom Brady fan, also a Patriots fan. Obviously, they've had success over the years. Brady, 20 years with the Patriots, gave us a lot of memories to hold on to. Now with the Bucks, obviously, we won the championship last year. I feel like Brady is pretty much the best quarterback that ever thrown a football. That's my humble opinion, and definitely I think the numbers reflect that. I mean, at his age, to be performing to this level, it's something that you just don't see. They saying that he's retiring. I'm hoping
looking like he's not, because apparently a couple hours after that, they're saying that it wasn't true, that he was far from deciding to retire. Listen, honestly, when it comes to Brady against my Giants, and everybody knows how much these Giants have been disappointing for the last century, but it's almost like he could beat every other team, but when it comes to the Giants, that's his bad luck.
Yeah.
So that's like the only thing that I could be like, yeah, against us, you ain't shit when it comes to the big times. But, no, Eli doesn't even compare to Tom Brady. The only one that I could say is almost at his level, sort of, is like Peyton or fucking Rodgers, even though Rodgers only has, I think, 1 ring.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. But, we're talking about, talent-wise and numbers-wise.
Definitely. I mean, I agree. Rodgers is a very talented quarterback. Obviously, Peyton is a tremendous quarterback, in my opinion, way better than his brother. But definitely, they're all good quarterbacks in their own merit. But I think, in my opinion, when you talk about being able to be more than just to throw the ball, being a quarterback is essentially you are the leader of the team. And I feel that Brady is that type of player that he makes everybody around him better. Everybody wants to perform at their best. He's a perfectionist. and that equals to success. I feel that that's the difference between maybe a good quarterback and a great quarterback. You can throw the ball, you can make the plays, but if the team doesn't rally around you, it's going to be a short season.
Yeah.
And I think that anywhere, that Tom Brady plays, he gets that support.
I mean, just look at it from his first year with Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I
He
mean,
literally, it was almost like he was like, you know what, I'm done. On to the next one. His very first season with Tampa took him to the Super Bowl, and he beat the Chiefs.
yeah,
And he made history. Like, he did everything in one season. His very first season with Tampa.
New GM,
So,
new coach, new teammates, everything brand new.
Won the Super Bowl in his stadium. The very first quarterback in history to do that.
Mhm.
Like,
I mean, I think we can all agree that
he's a great.
Tom Brady is the GOAT.
He's a great.
I mean,
and I've never seen somebody so humble too. This dude won 8 rings, and he's not out here talking trash. He's always humble.
Well, he won 7 rings.
Well, seven.
Yeah,
Sorry,
seven.
I keep saying 8 because I want to see him.
We almost
At
got
some
there this
point-
year.
At some point, I'm just like, I don't hate this dude, and I just want to see him get. I said 10, but
Yeah.
he doesn't think that Tom should get 10. He thinks that Tom is done.
Listen, I think that Tom, realistically speaking, with his age, it's probably going to be hard to get to 10. Maybe we would have made it to the Super Bowl this year, which obviously we had a very
good chance.
Very good chance. And the fact that we even got to the point of, tying the game against the Rams with 3 minutes left. We needed 2 touchdowns and we got them. Unfortunately, things didn't, finish how we would want it. But the point is that Tom Brady is Tom Brady, and he makes things happen. And basically, he did what Tom Brady does, which is basically leave everything on the field. He leaves, definitely whether he retires this year or next year, he's going to leave a legacy that's going to pretty much be going down from generation to generation, in my opinion. Like I said, I think Tom Brady is the best quarterback ever. And I think, like I said before, the numbers reflect it. I mean, if you're a numbers type of person, just look at the numbers.
Statistic type of guy.
Yeah, all you have to do is look at the numbers, and the numbers don't lie.
Yeah, I mean, the proof is there.
The proof is there. The proof is in the pudding, like they say, and a lot of people do, unfortunately, hate on Tom Brady. But when you're the best, you're gonna have people wanting to see your downfall.
But I'm not gonna lie, even though, like I said, I respect the hell out of him, it was fun trying to go against him because you get that sense of urgency to be like, is there gonna be that one moment where he fails? I've only gotten that one time. I usually don't. I don't get lucky with like underdog teams, but it happened with the Eagles when he lost to the Eagles. I actually said, you know what? I think the Eagles are gonna beat him because the Eagles had a team.
No, they had a very good year.
And that was literally like the Eagles' chance because they really haven't made the Super Bowl in so long. So I said, I think they're gonna pull out a miracle, and they did. I mean, he looked off in the game to begin with. If you watch that game, people forget that. At the end of the line, you're a human. You're gonna have bad games, and when you are such a dominant athlete, I think people, demand perfection from you, and in a perfect world. Every game that you play, you're going to play at 100%, but you have to take in, And people forget about Brady. His IQ is just so different.
I mean, he's
talk about
the game.
We were talking about this earlier. That game against Atlanta in the Super Bowl when he was down 28-3.
Yes.
In the third, in the
half.
In the half, literally from the half, it was almost like he said, "I got this. We're winning this."
Well, let me tell you this. One of the things that makes Tom Brady is that he is so confident in his ability.
He's so calm.
He's so calm under pressure. Tom Brady can be losing, as he just proved. He was losing by 2 touchdowns, 3 minutes left. He made the plays that he had to make to get the team back to where they needed to be. So he's just a different type of animal, to be honest with you. He's a different type of animal. He doesn't fall under pressure. He makes the plays when you need to make the plays. You give him the ball with 2 minutes left, and it's like you just gave him a whole quarter. because it's just he has that level of confidence in his ability to make the plays that need to be made.
He's a beast.
He is definitely a beast. I mean, listen, athletes like Tom Brady, they're like in a league of their own. You're talking about every sport. You can see who's that Tom Brady of every sport per se. Since we've been talking about Tom Brady,
boxing, Floyd Mayweather.
I mean,
that's one thing we could totally agree on. Me and him are big Mayweather fans. Now people may ask me like, why do you like Mayweather? Honestly, because I've never seen a fighter he's not humble. You can tell he's cocky. But it's like I've never seen a boxer that literally nobody can touch him.
One of the things
His
about
defense is so crazy.
Yeah, of course, he's the best defense in boxing history, in my opinion.
But people just tease him.
But
they never give him his credit.
This is what happens when you're so dominant.
Yeah.
And he said it before, where it's like, you're gonna pay to see him win, and you're gonna pay to see him lose.
Yeah.
And
no matter what, you're still paying. So he's winning at the end of the day because there's people out here talking about, I don't want to pay to see him. It's gonna be the same fight. Then again, the same day, it's either you're gonna stream this fight, whether you're not paying for it, or you're actually gonna pay for it, and you know what I mean? Like you're still giving into that.
Whether you want to see him win or lose, you want to see what happens.
Exactly.
And that's what makes an athlete, get to those type of.
We be telling the haters, but you already know the outcome.
Yeah.
I mean, when I saw him really take a chance, even though it wasn't at his peak, is when he fought Canelo.
When he fought
Canelo.
I mean,
because Canelo wasn't Canelo, but he was still rocking people out.
Well, listen, Canelo has always been a superstar, even from the beginning. He's had incredible talent, and I think that we all can agree that Canelo that fought Floyd Mayweather might not be the same Canelo that's actively now. But I will tell you this: you also have to see the other side of the story, which is, Floyd Mayweather was a much older athlete when he fought Canelo. And Canelo,
that's the crazy thing.
Yes,
Canelo was supposed to be the guy to be like, you know what, this is my crown now.
Yes,
I took you down. You're the veteran.
It was his time to take over the crown.
And like, you're still in my yard. Like,
definitely,
you're not gonna be the top until I leave, and that's pretty much how it was.
And that's how it goes. That's how it went. But like I said, going back to athletes, having haters when they're in this type of level. I mean, it all comes down to, like I said, I mean, when you're an athlete that is that dominant, people want to see you slip. People want to see what happens if you don't do well, and it comes with the game. It comes with the game.
I mean, you go with the Yankees. So many people want to see the Yankees just
yeah, a lot of
people.
They've
got it because remember, it's been the Yankees haven't won since 2000. It's been what? 12 years.
Yeah,
it's been 12 years, and so far everybody's got their wish. The Yankees have been there though.
Yes,
with a couple of exceptions of the fucking Houston Astros.
Yes.
And yeah, that's the only one that hurts.
That's something that I think that true Yankee fans wish we can get back, because after Houston came out with all of the allegations, and then after it was proven. It's something that obviously, we felt cheated because we lost to them when potentially they were, cheating. So definitely, but, we can't go back in time, and obviously, we could only move forward. But, to continue the conversation on dominance, it's basically, everybody or every team that is dominant is going to have people that's not going to like them, because, like I said, people don't like somebody or a team to be that dominant. Some people like to see
the underdog type.
They like the underdog. Yeah. Some people like to see this team this year, this team that year. They just don't like to see the same team winning.
I mean, it goes, for example, the Warriors, Golden State Warriors.
Yes.
Ever since Steph Curry got his shine, he had his shine around 2013, but it wasn't until 2015 when he took him to the NBA Finals and he beat LeBron.
Yes.
Even though some people might say Kyrie wasn't in there, so that's why they lost. But, he still beat him. We got to give him his credit.
Of course.
And ever since then, he's just been dominant. And, then they started hating him even more when Kevin Durant went to which, That to me doesn't make sense because it's like it's free agency for a reason. I don't give a fuck if I gotta be loyal. It's free agency.
Of course,
free agency is allowing me to go anywhere that I want to go. Now, what is the problem with one talented player wanting to go play with another talented player? So when everybody was like, "Oh, he's a cupcake. He's living by the thing. If you can't beat him, join him." Like that's not fair. He should have stayed loyal. I don't owe my loyalty to anybody unless if I'm really like, nah, I'm gonna stay here and finish what I gotta finish. But
well, listen. My opinion when it comes to that is, I agree. I mean, I think that you shouldn't limit yourself for not going to a team that you want to play with or to go play with certain players that you want to play with, because that is your choice. That is your choice. If you sucked, nobody would care where you would go play.
Exactly.
So, for example, LeBron is the prime example of that. I think he made it cool in a way because he went from from the Heat to Cleveland to back to Cleveland.
He got it worse.
But
people burning his jerseys.
Yes.
Shit.
I mean, because people get very attached to the sense of winning. And when you have one of the best players, because LeBron definitely is one of the best players in history and the NBA, in my opinion, you're gonna have that.
Jordan? You think so?
Well, listen, I'm gonna tell you this.
That's a conversation nobody could fit.
This is a very obviously a lot of people talk about this conversation. It's probably one of the most popular conversations when talking about basketball. My opinion, Jordan played in a different era, so it was a different basketball game back then. LeBron is playing in a whole different basketball now.
But the game back then with Jordan was harder.
I mean,
you didn't have too many calls going on. If you were pushed, you were pushed. They barely would call in there.
I understand. Yeah,
like a lot of people call this league soft because, dude, I could touch you with a finger and they call it a foul.
And of course, and LeBron is known to do his share. Yeah. But definitely,
and before you continue, anybody that says that LeBron doesn't do that, you're not watching basketball.
No.
This dude, every time he gets called, he gets hit, and they don't call it. He's always looking at the referee like, "Where's my call? Where's my call?" So come on, give me.
And that goes back to the point of it's a whole different basketball now.
Yeah.
Back in the
league is different.
Yeah, it's different. The league is different. Back in the day when maybe Jordan played, Pippen played, Kerr. All of those great players, it was just a different game where you didn't get those type of calls, so players weren't looking to get those type of calls.
They knew what they were going to do.
Yeah,
it was going to be a slug fight. Nowadays you don't look at that.
Nowadays you might get those calls, so obviously a call here and there might determine a game.
Yeah.
So basically, LeBron being the player that he is, who is a master in manipulating the game and playing the game, he uses everything to his advantage. In my opinion, hey, it's fair in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, the rules are there. He's not breaking the rules. He's just basically using the tools that he needs to use to play. But if you really want to discuss who do I think is a better player, now that we got out the way that it was two different leagues, two different basketballs at the time, I want to give LeBron James the advantage over Jordan. I just feel that LeBron is just dominant, he's just a bigger animal.
He's the Brady of the NBA.
He's a bigger animal.
Every time he's on a team, they always make the only team that has been hard for him to take to the NBA Finals is the Lakers.
Listen, I tell you this. Listen, LeBron is the type of player that can do everything for you. And to be honest, who do I want to get the ball to win the game? I want Jordan to take the shot. But overall, if you look at the athlete overall, I think LeBron has a little bit of advantage because just the sheer size of LeBron. When LeBron says he's going in, who's gonna stop him? Who's gonna stop LeBron?
You have to be legitimate, like a legit defender.
Yes,
it's hard to guard.
LeBron is just a different type of animal. And,
it's hard to guard.
And like I said, and then going back to the theme, how many people hate LeBron? Going back to the theme, what's the common denominator? It's being that player who can get it done. Yeah. It's called dominance. at whatever sport you're playing, and everybody feels the same way. Once you hit that level of dominance, you will have that people that love you and support you, and then you're gonna have the people that that hate on you and that don't like you, then want to say that you do this and you do that. But at the end of the line, numbers don't lie. And if you look at LeBron's numbers, you can't take it away from him that he is a future legend. He is right now a living legend that's still playing in the league.
He's making the Hall of Fame.
Of course. No questions asked. He's making the Hall of Fame. So,
but I think it's cool that now that his son in the high school right now, he wants to wait till his son gets to the league. He wants to play with his son. And his son is talented, so I can't wait for that.
And to be honest with you, LeBron can, because LeBron is still playing at a level that obviously
he's not the
exceeds
same.
a lot of
now
people.
He's getting hurt more and more. Like he's been out. I think he's been out for like 4 games straight.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that's just the age. But when LeBron is on, he's on.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I would still put my money on LeBron. When he's on, and probably even when he's not on, because he's still, even him being off in the game, he's probably still better than a lot of players on that court. So definitely, LeBron is another dominant player that
What's your favorite LeBron moment? Do you have a LeBron moment, or you haven't seen too many of his?
If
it's the one in the 2016 finals when he came back from 3.
That is one of my favorite moments.
I would literally take my hat off.
That is one of my favorite moments because to be down to the best team in the league.
And that year, they won 72 games. They
Yes.
had just passed the Bulls for the most team wins.
I think that's one of the biggest accomplishment for LeBron to make that happen, like I said, against a team that basically was the favorite the entire season.
There's a video that I'm going to show you after this. So he's pretty much, game 6, he pretty much, they're discussing. They just need one more. Game 7.
Yes.
So, the team is huddling and then he stops and he goes, yo, mentally, they're fucked. Like LeBron literally said it to the team, to the entire team.
Mm-hmm.
Mentally, they're fucked. Because we literally came back and they don't know what to do. Like, they don't know. And the thing is, Iman Shumpert, who was also on that team, said that once Draymond Green got suspended in, I think, game 5, that's when they took the momentum.
Yeah.
They knew automatically, they're done. Because Draymond Green was practically...
He plays a big part.
First of all, he plays a big part, and he's their top defender.
Of course.
And he moves the ball around for Steph and Clay. He generates that whole offense as much as Clay and Steph do. Once he got suspended in Game 5, Shumpert was like, we all looked at each other like, they're fucked. Like, we got this on the road now. So after that Game 6, when LeBron was like, mentally, they're fucked. You kind of saw it. I mean, listen, it was a back and forth, so it could have gone either way. The Warriors could have won. But,
of course, it got to Game 7.
Steph wasn't playing his best game. Steph was having a horrible shooting night. Even though, they stayed in the game. I think it was just that block that LeBron got off the backboard. It kind of took the air out of him.
Yeah,
because they had a fast break right there. And then you talk about LeBron getting to the line after he was fouled. And then you have Kyrie hitting that 3 over Steph. I was like,
Of course, no. I mean, like we go back to saying, it's just
Steph was playing defense close. He was like, I'm not giving you no space. So
is the dominance of LeBron.
Kyrie Irving.
And listen,
in my opinion, some people may get mad because LeBron still had a triple double or whatever, and they probably would have not been to where they were at if LeBron wasn't there playing his best to his abilities in Game 7. Okay. But if Kyrie did not hit that 3-pointer, I'm convinced either the Warriors would have taken it or they would have went to overtime. Kyrie was like, I'm taking over at this point.
Yeah. It definitely could have gone that way, and to switch from a different sport, since we're in the topic of moments that that basically determined a series. I'll take you to one of my experiences and memories that I wish I can forget when it comes to that, and I'm gonna take you back to Boston and New York Yankees when 2004 when New York won Game 1, 2, and 3.
They were up 3-0.
3-0, and credit to Boston, which is our nemesis. But you have to give credit where credit is due.
I think that's their crowning achievement. They look at you guys maybe 27 championships. Do you not remember in 2004 when we
Listen, I think that I've gotten into a lot of wars with Boston fans, And we all always have. Well, listen, we've won 27 times. Well, listen, this and that. But when a Boston fan brings up 2004, as a Yankee fan, it hurts.
Yo, Boston can hold their own.
Of course. Boston is the 18, of course.
Boston
but that series, I think that for Yankees fan, that series like really, really hurt. Just because obviously, to lose 4 games straight and get eliminated, and obviously to then lose it to your arch nemesis out of all the
Wasn't
teams.
a regular team that y'all played before. And
Yes.
No.
And then after that, seeing Boston Red Sox break the curse and win the whole thing.
After coming back, they swept St. Louis.
Yes.
In that World Series. So it was like, where the hell did this come from? Like,
it's like I said,
sport is so unpredictable.
It's so unpredictable. That's why I love it so much, because
me too.
Even when you look at a sport, you look at a game, and you look at the numbers, and you feel that yes, this is what should happen.
Yeah.
You have those moments where the opposite happens, and there is nobody, whether a Yankee fan or a Boston fan, after Game 3, which I think we beat Boston Game 3 like 15-3 or something. We pretty much,
thing where y'all were about to be like, yeah, we're going to win.
I think that some of the Yankee players might have opened up a couple of bottles of champagne after that
the party started a little bit early. Yeah.
But like I said, credit to Boston Red Sox.
And people always say that it started with a Dave Roberts steal. Remember
It did. Big Papi. Congratulations to him. He just made the Hall of Fame.
One of our own Dominican heritage.
Yes. And, he played a big part. He played a big part in that comeback. Like I said, being a Yankee fan is probably one of my worst, times as a baseball fan, as a Yankees fan. But this is sports, and this is why I love the game. Because it's so unpredictable. It's something that just can't be explained. Yeah. And if you look at that series, you look at that year, you look at the players that the Yankees had, it was just something that you cannot explain, to lose 4 games straight the way we did. And like I said, credit to Boston, they went on to the World Series and won another 4 straight.
Yeah.
So they won 8 games straight.
4 years later, and then you talk about 4 years later, they won the World Series again.
And then
2013, they won again.
I feel that, listen, after that series, it was almost like mentally the curse was broken.
Yeah.
I think that, the weight was lifted off the whole organization. It was a situation where definitely it was just a different Boston.
Yeah.
It was definitely a different Boston after they won that. So
look
definitely.
At Chicago hadn't won a World Series since 2018.
Oh yeah,
and then in 2016 they beat Cleveland in Game 7.
Yeah, definitely.
Win a World Series.
You
can't predict these things.
You cannot. Yeah, like I said, that's probably when it comes to the vice versa of obviously one of the greatest series, which is basically LeBron coming back and winning the championship with Cleveland. I think to the other side of the spectrum, the Yankees Boston 2004 was probably the one that hurt me the most.
To go down in history.
They
always played on the TV.
Definitely, like I said, it's just the dominance that the Yankees showed. It was
also remember that was there. I got my revenge back. Remember in 2003, Aaron Boone hit the home run to eliminate them.
Of course.
So that was kind of like there.
And listen, it was a good revenge for them.
The best one yet. I don't think nobody else in the league has ever been able to do that.
It was a good revenge.
They still hold the crown for that.
Nobody's ever been down 3 games in a championship game to then win the World Series. So like I said, Boston are and probably will always be my nemesis. But big shout out to Boston. You know what I'm saying? You guys definitely do deserve your flowers in 2004 and everything that's happened after that. Because like I said, it was a different Boston after that 2004. It was a whole different Boston.
I do wish I was a Boston fan at the same time. If you see the way it played out, I could. If I'm a Boston fan, I could have at least had a ring 04, 07, 13, and 18.
So this brings up a good conversation to have.
Yes.
So
one that we have with the Mets, that we have with the Giants.
Yes.
Because he says it about the Giants as well. Even though I do say that the Giants are the only team that have blessed me with a ring. The Giants are the only team, because everybody knows I'm a diehard Met fan, a diehard Knicks fan, and a diehard Giant fan. Out of those three, they've been the only team that I can say have given me a ring in my lifetime.
Well, this is my question to you. I want the people that obviously, hear this podcast, and basically, I want maybe the people can chime in after this. What is it to say? Why is it considered somebody that is a fan of whatever team? Let's use Mets as an example. Mets fans, very, very loyal. Very, very loyal. But like I said, what have the Mets done for you guys? So basically, this is my question to you. My question to you is, what makes a Mets fan as loyal as they are? Because I'm a Yankees fan, and I am a diehard Yankees fan, but I have memories to look back and say, wow, they did. I know the feeling that I felt when, like you said, when Aaron Boone hit that home run. When they won in '96, when they, Jeter's second year in the league.
When beat us in 2000.
Well, we beat, there's so many memories to look back at as a Yankee fan that I feel like even if we go and not win a World Series for 4, 5, 10 years, 15 years, it's almost like we've gotten so many positive memories that, we are okay. So now my question to you is, and to all the Mets fans that might be hearing, what makes you guys so loyal when basically you guys give and give and give and give and never receive anything that you guys can say, well, my team, there's hope, or my team is growing, or my team is getting better? Because I have no problem with a team that's building. I have no problem with a team that you can see the growth. Yeah. But when you have a team like the Mets that basically more than one time are ahead, right? Are number one, and going back to, I'm not sure what year it was, but going back to going back to the year where obviously the collapse, where you guys were up by, what was it, 18 games, maybe?
You're talking about this year that just happened?
No.
2007.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
The collapse. That's what I call it, guys. The collapse.
Because we also had a collapse last season as well.
We just haven't got to that one.
We're
taking one at a time.
Yeah, we're taking one at a time.
So, obviously, the collapse, like I call it, 2007. Basically, you guys are cruising.
13 games up before the playoffs were about to start. And
yes.
It just went like
cruising. It was almost like on paper. It was almost a situation where
we had the division in the
it was impossible. Yeah, it was like, if I was a numbers guy, it was probably like a 10% chance that you guys wouldn't make the playoffs, because there were only about 16 to 18 games left, and you guys are up by 13 to 14 games in first place. So basically, my question again, what makes a Mets fan a Mets fan? What is it about being a Mets fan that Mets fans just take the abuse and keep it going?
Well, if you want to look at it from that perspective, from the joke, from the joking perspective, yes, it's that they like to take the abuse. But I believe, let's exclude the Yankee fans, because they obviously haven't taken as much as abuse.
Of course.
I think it's a New York thing. Besides the Yankee fans, the Jets go through it, the Giants go through it, the Knicks go through it, the Nets go through it, the Mets, the Rangers, the Islanders. I think for a city that is first or second as one of the biggest sports cities, and just the biggest city in general, for them to not be one of the cities to have the most championships, and for us to be embarrassed like we've had before, it's pretty embarrassing.
So you're saying that it's a New York thing?
It's a New York thing, but also when it comes to like a person like that who's seen so many embarrassing moments, I'm not the type of person to just like.
So so this is my follow-up question. It's a New York thing. The Yankees are from New York.
That's why. That's why I excluded.
Oh, okay.
Yes, because they've been the only team
to hold New York down.
Exactly. Yes. Now the Knicks could have been one of those teams, for example, if you want to talk about generalization.
Okay.
But we just didn't get it done. I mean, we made the finals with Ewing. Yes. Ewing kind of fucked it up. Yes. We've made the finals in I think 2000. Kind of fucked it up. Mm-hmm. We've made the playoffs with Carmelo. Mm-hmm. Carmelo, like literally, Carmelo has been since Ewing. Carmelo's legitimately been the only star that we've had that literally said, "I'm gonna do whatever I can."
Okay.
He just didn't have enough help, and the front office fucked him over.
So I like that you said it's a New York thing, because I'm going to piggyback off of that. So it's a New York thing, but here's another question, and this is for Brandon. And this is for everybody listening that is a Mets fan. It's about a New York thing. Why do we feel, as a Yankee fan, do we feel that there's so much hate towards the Yankees being, from the Mets, for example? When, like you said, the Yankees
are the only
team to represent this state to a point where it's like, you're proud of.
I think selfishly, I could literally say that I hate the Yankees, but it's not because of their success. I give them credit. You've seen me.
Yeah, of course. So why do you hate the Yankees?
Because of the fans and the people that I know that are fans. They continuously.
They take the punches.
They like to just jab at us, right? So even though it was a collapse, remember that game in the Subway Series about the season that just passed when we beat y'all the first game. Y'all beat us on the 9/11 game, and then Lindor hit the 3 home runs.
Yes,
that was like a feeling that we haven't had against y'all in so long. It was almost like a playoff type thing, just because nobody for a moment for those 2 games, everybody kind of forgot about the series because it was literally 9/11 weekend.
Yes.
So we series was back, so it was almost like we only just focused on that one series and we won the series.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And then you kind of had like Lindor, who's been having a bad season. He had those 3 home runs, so it was like potential for like, okay, this guy's finally getting hot. This is our star player. We put the money on it, and I'm not gonna say yet that the Mets are turning things around, even though
I mean, you guys
got no owner.
Yes,
he's putting money down like we should have had.
Yes,
this season he just made some big signings. I mean, nobody thought we were gonna go fucking out and get Server.
Yeah,
everybody was like, "Whoa,
very good pickup."
Where the hell did that come from? Like,
very
this is one of the pitchers that's one of the best in the league. He's a 2-time Cy Young, I think 2-time or 3-time, and he's had 2 no-hitters in his career. He's another he's literally pitching after DeGrom, and we know how dominant DeGrom is.
Honestly, DeGrom is the Bugatti of New York.
If you want to say that there's a crack starting to open as far as like success coming, I guess you could say that. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to like Yankee fans, I think it's the fun of it. Like we just like to go back and forth just because there's it's always animosity and there's always like competition. Even though we already know that Yankees are already more. Just because of the proof and the status that is out there.
Obviously, like I say,
we're the little brothers.
Definitely our little brothers that we take to the game, and
But if there was ever a situation where we end up facing the World Series and the Mets happen to win, I don't think Yankee fans should be like, oh, just because y'all got when it came to the biggest moment, we beat y'all. But then if it was in the Yankees, it'd be the same thing. It'd be like, listen, we beat y'all. Instead of hating, give us our credit. Because at the end of the day, it's sports. You can't necessarily.
I mean, I agree. I agree that at the end of the day, to have a team to represent New York, it's a victory for New York. So New York has 2 teams. They have the Mets and they have the Yankees, and obviously there are 2 very different franchises with 2 very different championship rate.
Yeah.
But I think as a Yankee fan, probably talking like whoever's hearing this who's a Yankee fan can probably agree with me. We're not worried about the Mets.
No.
We're not worried about the Mets. Like I said, it's almost like big brother, little brother. Yeah.
If you want to talk about,
listen, we and until the Mets start doing what the Mets should start doing, you guys, we are not going to worry about you guys.
No.
And you know what I'm saying?
I think the only way for that to happen is if we start making a consistency in the playoffs, and then it's like, wait a minute, if the Yankees don't end up winning and the Mets end up doing, let's say if we go like 3 championships year after year after year,
Yes.
then that's when the Mets kind of like take the crown a little bit.
Yeah.
As of right now.
Yeah, of course.
But
I mean,
but
listen,
so far nobody has really been able to take the Yankees off their throne.
I mean, like
I'm
I
talking
said,
about like in New York
it's a
City.
but very
if
heavy
you want to
throne.
talk about other teams, even though they cheated, the Astros, even like I said, even though they cheated,
Yeah.
you know, but it's still gonna be in the fucking books for no matter what. They're
No
not
matter
gonna take
what.
that off.
Yeah.
We could say Tampa. Tampa's beaten you guys, I think, twice.
Oh yeah,
and
Tampa definitely has been a team that we've had
Tampa's been
trouble
one of
with.
those teams where it's like, oh, y'all don't think we could do it?
Yeah,
We-
definitely.
we'll
Kudos
take
to
it.
Tampa, definitely.
Shoot.
I mean, but like I said again, I mean, when it comes to the back and forth of the Mets and the Yankees, I think it is, like you said, you know, it's fun.
But they're
it's
like-
fun to kind of. It's almost like when you argue with your little brother.
I'm not a
you know.
confrontational guy.
Yeah.
But when there's moments that needs to be confrontational, even if I lose, I'll put my foot down and I'll get rowdy with somebody and I'll get hyped with somebody.
So here's the question.
Just for the love of the game, just for the hype of the game. I mean, ask my mom. Every time we're at every time I'm at a game, I'm always going crazy.
Even if you
it's
lose.
game, even I mean, if it's like flat out we're getting our ass kicked, I'm gonna just be saying that, what the fuck. But if the game is close
Yeah.
and it's a back and forth type thing, I'm gonna get rowdy because I'm trying to get these fans. I'm trying to be that one person in the crowd that gets the entire section going nuts. If you get an entire section, you get the entire stadium eventually going nuts. You try to rally the fans.
I mean, it's the energy. It's the energy.
It's the energy.
It's the
You know what I
energy.
mean? So that's why when a lot of people be like, oh, like why sometimes you go to like baseball games by yourself? Like why aren't you? It's because I look at the fun of the game. Like at the end of the day, I'm experiencing it whether I'm with somebody or not with somebody. I'm still having the same amount of fun. I'll end up interacting with somebody next to me eventually because that's just how it is.
That's just how it is. I mean, like I said, kudos to the Mets. I mean, definitely
I mean,
to the Mets
we haven't
fans.
done anything yet.
No,
we made the
kudos-
moves, but we haven't. It hasn't paid off yet.
Kudos to the Mets fans because I feel as a fan looking in, when I look into the Mets organization, I see that obviously there's a lot of holes and, you know, obviously.
A lot of changes.
Yeah, but I see that the fans are always in it with you guys. It's always like, it doesn't matter how many holes the ship has and the ship looks like it's about to go under. You know, you guys are a very loyal fan base.
One week could be the most unpredictable year.
I
I
mean,
mean, look at 2015. Nobody thought we were gonna make it to the World Series, even though we lost.
yeah.
Like nobody, like when we beat LA, Game 5. Nobody thought we were gonna beat LA because LA had a good squad. Then we sweep the Cubs to get to the World Series. At that point, everybody was like, "Oh, wait a minute,
There's something
impossible
here, yeah.
could be possible."
Definitely.
But you know, Kansas City played it smart. They played small balls. We had a lot of errors. It was almost like the pressure got to them, and it didn't really.
The big, you know, just the big stage.
Yeah, the big stage. You know, it's even though New York fans showed out.
No,
Like
definitely.
there was an interview where New York fans said, "I've been to so many games. I've never been to a crowd like it was in Game 3 when we won that game. That was the only win we got in the World
Yeah.
Series. When we won that game, it was like I've never seen a crowd go nuts."
I mean, well, you can say that it doesn't matter. Whatever team you support in New York, there's no fans like New York.
Yeah,
I mean, New York fans are definitely
New York
invested in the team.
When I went to that Knicks game on Tuesday when they
Yeah.
played Minnesota, the fan that I was sitting next to, because he just came by himself too. That's how me and him were talking the whole game. And he said when the Knicks made the playoffs last year,
Mhm.
when they won that one game on Game 2, that he was like, this crowd was standing the entire game, yelling to the chanting "fuck Trae Young," like going nuts. Everybody he literally said himself he's never heard a crowd go like crazy
Nothing.
like
There's
that.
nothing like a New York
So,
crowd.
It's stuff like that. It's like I'm blessed to be a New Yorker.
Definitely.
And then when you start getting
we
into
can
the New York-
agree.
yeah.
We can agree that it's
And
a
then
bonus
we could
to
be some
be in New
assholes
York.
sometimes too.
Oh,
'cause we be
definitely.
going. There's nobody like New Yorkers. New Yorkers are also. We could be disrespectful as well. But,
So, switching up to another sport, what do you think? What do you think about the heavyweight division at the moment? There was a big announcement. Obviously, Fury will fight Dylan for the belts. How do you feel about that? Because there was a lot of back and forth. You know, is it going to be AJ? Is AJ going to take money to step down? Is it going to be Usyk going against Fury? How do you feel about the decision?
I'll be honest with you. I don't know what the hell AJ's doing. I'm gonna be very. I don't know what he's doing. This AJ and Fury fight should have happened. It should have happened like last year.
Should happen when he was more.
Yes, I don't even think the Wilder and Fury fight should have happened. I think the AJ and Fury fight should have happened last year.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's doing. It seems to me like he's ducking Fury. Honestly, there's a lot of fighters that I think is ducking Fury because of how good he is.
Of course.
He fights like a welterweight. Like, that's how scary he is. He fights like a welterweight. His IQ is crazy. He's the best heavyweight in this division right now.
So, what do you think going forward? Are you with Fury winning his next bout?
Yes. Unless if there's first of all, boxing is unpredictable as well. We've seen some fighters that were like, oh, he's gonna win, lose.
So unless if there's something that happens
crazy to where Fury loses, I don't see.
If Fury,
I don't see Fury losing at all.
Okay,
and I don't see Fury fighting until I feel like this is a fight where he's like, yo, oh my god, like, why I gotta take this fight? Why can't this dude Joshua just come out so I could beat him? Because apparently he's the next top thing.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question then. Where do you want the heavyweight division to go if Fury does win and retain his belts? Do you want the fight with Usyk to be made to unify?
Oh, I forgot about Usyk.
Yeah.
Usyk's one of those names that they don't.
Yeah, Usyk is in the mix.
He's a beast.
You know, Usyk. Obviously, he has all the belts that Joshua has. Yeah.
Joshua.
So basically, what do you think is gonna happen?
I mean, listen, that's another fight. That's the one I pay for. I wouldn't even stream it. I pay for that because that's how good Usyk is. And a lot of people don't. It's either they don't know his name like that or they don't give him his credit.
Yeah.
And he's very savvy.
So who do you have?
So my thing,
Fury, Usyk. If it comes down to that fight being
probably Fury, because it seems like every time Fury gets hit, he just can't go down. But I'm not gonna say it's gonna be easy for Fury.
Okay,
it's gonna be one of those uncomfortable fights where we've seen Wilder give him an uncomfortable fight and he's beating Wilder. So
I'm gonna have to disagree.
Usyk?
I'm gonna have to disagree with that's going to be a difficult fight.
That's what I'm saying. For Fury, yeah.
I do not think it's going to be a difficult fight for Fury because, in my opinion, it's just, listen, you have to understand one thing about Fury. Fury is probably, and you touched on this a little bit, Fury is probably one of the biggest heavyweights that moves like a middleweight. Like a welterweight, yes. Yeah. So, when you have a man who's 270 pounds,
he moves like that,
and he moves that way.
What do you do? That changes your whole game plan.
And then
like that.
The way that I look at it when it comes to Usyk and Fury, I look at it like Usyk is a very talented fighter.
100%.
But I feel that he's just too much of a small man to go against this.
The way he fought Joshua, he took care of Joshua.
Yeah, he did. he did. But listen, you can't compare Joshua coming in at what is he coming in at 190 something, 195 or whatever the case may be. You can't compare 270 because remember, Usyk is a smaller fighter coming up. He is a smaller fighter. Even when he fought Joshua, Joshua towered him. So imagine what would Fury do to him. You got to understand. Boxing weight, obviously there's weight divisions for a reason. And I feel that if the fight happens where Fury goes against Usyk, meaning what would have to happen for that to happen? Fury would have to win his next bout. And if Joshua and Usyk, which he does have, every match clause in his contract, if it happens, he would have to beat Joshua again. Yeah. But if Fury fights Usyk, I think it's going to be a wash.
You think so?
I think it's going to be a wash. I think that Fury is going to be Fury. He's going to move, he's going to stick, he's going to jive. He's the bigger man that moves like the smaller man. And I feel that he's going to bring it to Usyk.
Usyk has never really fought anybody like that, so that's another thing.
Yes,
it's hard to prepare for that.
How do you prepare to fight a giant?
People got to understand that just because you go through training camp and just because you go through a process or a different process doesn't mean that automatically you could be ready. But it's so different when it comes to fight night because, again, you're just looking at tapes. It's different than actually going in there and fighting.
Of course.
You don't know what you're getting yourself into.
Like the great Floyd Mayweather said. Everybody knows what my game plan is.
And
but nobody can beat him.
That's what makes him so great. That's what these haters don't understand. Is that what makes him so great? He goes in there with the same game plan.
Of course.
And doesn't.
And going back to what Floyd told in one of his interviews when Oscar De La Hoya said, I have the blueprint.
Yeah, he literally
I have
was
the
like,
blueprint
and then he
to
goes,
beat him.
how the fuck you gonna give me, how did you give him the blueprint when I beat you?
Exactly.
So it's like, come on now.
Listen,
I beat you and I beat your fighter Ricky Hatton in front of his peoples. Because that whole MGM Grand was taken over by.
And obviously we know that he beat Canelo.
Yes,
which was basically
exactly.
Oscar De La Hoya's pride and joy.
Exactly.
So at the time, since they've separated, they're no longer in business together.
Yeah.
Which touch upon that little subject. I think that.
Well, before you go there, I wanted to mention this too. Speaking of Mayweather, like even going back then, did you ever see that fight when he fought Arturo Gatti?
Yes.
Okay, do you remember the build up to that fight where everybody was saying how Mayweather could have been this or that, and now he's turning into like a street thug, and how like he could have been like the next Muhammad Ali, but like now he. So there was a lot of like writers that were literally like saying.
Of course, a lot of people didn't.
And the funny thing was he dismantled. I watched that fight so many times. I'm like,
listen, I can tell you this right now.
If you break that fight down, it's like literally he picked them apart.
Listen, I can tell you this right now. Just quickly to get into that fight, because obviously if you're a boxing fan and you're a Mayweather fan or you are a Arturo Gatti fan, you saw the fight.
Yeah.
Basically,
even though Arturo Gatti was going down, that was still a fight of.
From the beginning of that fight, if you are a boxing fan that knows a little bit about boxing, you would know that Gatti was a fighter he's a brawler. He was a brawler. His bread and butter was to brawl.
Yeah.
So now you are fighting against Floyd Mayweather, which at that time maybe we didn't know was probably the best defensive fighter in boxing history.
Nobody really was giving him that crown yet.
Yes,
it wasn't until he fought in De La Hoya when everybody was like, "Oh, wait a minute."
Yeah, of course.
De La Hoya was giving him a tough fight.
Yeah,
even though
but this is what I can tell you about the Arturo Gatti fight. In my mind, the Arturo Gatti fight from the beginning, once the fight was signed, I knew that what time it was. It's just because you got Floyd Mayweather, who is not a brawler, who is excellent basically at, picking his shots, who's excellent at, moving and doing all that wonderful things that he does. You knew what the fight was going to happen if you were a boxing fan.
Arturo Gatti wasn't ready.
Arturo Gatti, like I said, why did fans love Gatti? Because he was a brawler. You saw Gatti fight and you felt like you just came out of, seeing the gladiators.
But in that fight, he just couldn't get it out. Like,
I mean, you can't, because when you have an object that it's not going to stay in the same spot for more than a second or two, you can't catch him.
You can also look at the Ricky Hatton fight. Everybody literally said Ricky Hatton was the guy to beat him.
Listen,
he made Ricky Hatton look like a sparring match.
Yes, but it's like I said, kudos to Floyd. Definitely, Floyd is just like I said. He's just one of those athletes that just come, like one in a million. When it comes to the sport of boxing, a lot of people did not like or don't like Floyd Mayweather.
In the beginning, they low-key did. It wasn't until he started getting his confidence.
But I'm gonna touch up on that. I mean, listen, you gotta understand something. The name of the game is you're a pride fighter. Yeah. You're a prize fighter.
He said it in the 24/7 against Mosley.
Yes.
He was like, when Mosley was like, oh, he only fights for money, and then Mayweather was like, you fucking dummy. Yeah. I'm a prize fighter. That's what I'm supposed to fight for.
You have to understand. You have to understand that basically Floyd, he created this persona of basically, being a loudmouth, saying this to the press, saying that to the press. You gotta understand, this is what made Mayweather rich, wealthy, a billionaire. Yeah. So basically, people like he said, people will pay to see me lose and see me win. Because I have the people that support me that are going to pay to see me win, and then I have the people the haters that are also going to pay. So he has both markets.
That's it.
So, like I said, kudos to Floyd for just being a masterful athlete at his craft.
And people will be like, oh, he was just picking and choosing. My man, every single person that they said that he would not face, he faced.
Got it.
He faced him. Here's Pacquiao in his later years. First of all, that was all Pacquiao's fault. Why they couldn't fight the early years. Let's be honest, because there are people that were saying that he was running from Pacquiao.
Well, like Mayweather said, Mayweather was his own boss.
Like, you want to talk about that?
You know,
that used to be a conversation, even during the time he fought Ortiz, which was an easy fight for the beginning. Everybody was saying that year he should have fought Pacquiao. But again,
listen, I'm gonna tell you this: Pacquiao's boss has always been Bob Arum.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you this: Bob Arum has a tendency that his fighters, when the fights need to be made, don't get made, and this is why Crawford walked away.
Well,
he walked away.
Yeah. Oh, so he's out.
That's it. He's out. He's off the contract.
Still the top rank. Okay.
No, that's it. He's not no longer on the top rank. Why? Because if you can't. There's fights, and this is my opinion. I think Bob Arum, obviously, he's like 90
something years old. So somebody got to start.
Listen, Bob Arum needed to retire years ago, and I say that with all the love because he has contributed a lot to the sport of boxing. But Bob Arum is still in the sport of boxing of 1920.
Yeah.
Things are different. Fighters want to fight fighters that the fans want to see.
I mean,
and he never gets it done. And this is why Crawford.
I don't know.
This is why Crawford left him.
Yeah. I don't know if you see
but excuse me. Who was Pacquiao's boss? Bob Arum. So if there's too many coincidences.
I mean, it goes back under Mayweather because
and a lot of people.
Mayweather was in the top rank, right?
Yeah. Do
you remember that he wanted the De La Hoya fight like a year prior to when they fought?
Yes, and didn't get made
because of Bob Arum. So
when
he
did
bought out his
get
contract
made? Exactly.
And then he went and did his own thing.
Yep.
And look what happened.
$750,000 to get out of his contract. And like I say, the rest is history. The rest is history.
I'm telling you, bro.
And it's something like, listen, to be that confident.
Nobody was on his level.
To be that confident of an athlete at that point in your career, and to say that you are going to pay $750 to get out of a contract and just be basically without any type of representation in a game where everybody has representation. Listen, Floyd was a boxer, light years ahead of the sport.
Yeah.
And guess what? Because a lot of people say that, Canelo is pound for pound. In my opinion, Canelo is the pound for pound
best right now.
Nobody's
touching.
But guess what? He followed Mayweather's blueprint. You know why? Because Canelo has become that defensive fighter that Floyd is or was when he was an active fighter.
Game is like
his defensive game has gone to next level. Not only that, now he's not under Golden Boy production.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
What is he doing now? He's his own boss. Now you have people like Eddie Hearn.
Getting paid from the zone.
Yes, so you got people like Eddie Hearns sending him potential, fights. You got people from PBC. You got people, all these promoters, and he has the last say on what he wants to do, what he's gonna take, where he's gonna fight. And listen, I think that this is going to be a trend that a lot of boxers are going to get on. I think, to be honest with you, I think that the actual sense of having a promoter, in a sense, it's starting to die out. I think it's a breed that's starting to die out.
Fighters should be representing themselves.
Yeah, because listen, if you, as my promoter, can't get certain fights done, and then I prove that I can do it on my own, why am I paying you?
Yeah.
Why am I paying you?
Yeah.
So it's a situation where I think that trend, which basically De La Hoya which basically Floyd created, back then when he started his career. I think that trend will continue, and you're going to see more and more fighters want to be their own boss.
So now that we've got that out the way, and we can talk about Canelo a little bit. Supposedly his next fight is they're predicting that it's against Jamal, not the one that lost. We're talking about the undefeated one, Jamal, the older one, Jamal Charlo.
Yes.
They're saying that that's going to be his next fight.
I can tell you right now.
I even though I like Jamal, I don't like Jamal.
I know you're a fan. I
like Jamal.
Yeah.
But that's I'm picking Canelo for that one. I think he'll give him a good fight, But I don't think it's gonna be on some. It's probably gonna go to the decision. It's kind of got that easy.
I think that
I don't think there's anybody right now. I don't think who the hell is he gonna fight? That's another question.
Well, listen. Right now, the plans are that
if he beats Charlo.
Yes.
Then I don't see.
No. Listen. The game plan for Canelo, which, in my opinion, I want to see the Charlo fight. I want to see the Charlo fight because Charlo, I think right now, talking about this year, I think has reached maybe that point where a guy like Canelo, the pound for pound best, can say, okay, I'll give you this shot. But I would say that basically, I want to see the fight. But if he wins the fight, which in my opinion, he's going to win that fight, I don't think that nobody is gonna beat Canelo in that division. I think the next big thing is for him to break the records again and unify the next division, which this is something that Eddie Hearns has discussed that's what he would like to see. I think that seeing Canelo again in like a year or a year and a half time take all the belts in a whole division and clean house is something amazing to watch. And if there's somebody that can make it happen, is the pound for pound best in the world, Canelo.
No boxer's really been able to do that in a while.
I mean, listen, there's only 6 boxers in history that've done it, and Canelo's one of them.
Canelo's one of them.
And now, if Canelo follows that path, he could be on that list twice. So just imagine how dominant you have to be as a fighter. Like I said, big kudos to Canelo and his camp. Reynoso, because they're doing amazing work over there. And I don't think anybody can really see
been there from the beginning.
I mean, Reynoso has won, Trainer of the Year, my 3 years running right now.
Yeah.
So, but talking about that camp, let's talk about something that I know a lot of people want to get, out of the way. Where do you see now?
We're talking about Pussy Garcia.
Well, we are talking about Garcia.
He's talking about that camp.
We are talking about Instagram Garcia.
I know that's a little hostility. Let me give the people why I call him a pussy.
Yes.
Because when he first came in, he has so much hype. And he still has potential. So I'm not going to say so much potential than it felt. He has potential. But you can't tell me after getting that much hype because you're standing next to Canelo, you're in his camp, and then you actually prove that you can knock these fighters out. You start talking shit, and then all of a sudden, you're backing out little by little. The other fighters that you're calling out, Tank, Haney, are trying to get the fight done with you, but on your side, there's no communication, there's no movement. First of all, you're not touching Tank, that's number one. Tank has fought fighters more, I would say not skilled, but heavier than you, that can knock you out like that. And he's been able to beat him.
Yes.
So if you put him in Tank's watching.
So you're going with Tank all the way.
Anybody. If we're talking about the fight.
Who would you like him to fight?
Tank?
For his return. No, Garcia.
Well, I think if he fights Kambosos, if you really want to prove that
you're
not
but
a bitch.
I mean, we gotta be
even
realistic.
though Kambosos did the unthinkable by beating my other guy, Tio.
Our big shout out to Tio.
Yeah, I think he's
he's a New York
kid,
Brooklyn kid, so you already know we always support Tio.
If you're really about it, with all this shit that you've been talking about social media, and you haven't fought within like a year or two.
I mean, listen,
I see what balls you have.
I can see your point, but I don't think that's a fight that can be made right now.
His camp don't want that. Why?
Not only that, Kambosos himself told them directly, like, listen, you got to take a ticket. Because right now, Kambosos is the king in that division.
That's my point.
You can't just come from a year later.
But let's look at it this way, because it's not like the fight can't be made. If he wants that for his return fight, you think Kambosos is really gonna turn it down? Hell no. He's telling him now, so he could be like, yo, just be smart about it.
So you're saying that if Garcia and his camp really fight for that fight as his return fight, you're thinking that Kambosos will fold and fight him?
Absolutely, because he hasn't fought nobody like Kambosos. That's the fucking problem.
Okay.
He hasn't fought nobody. If you break down that fight that Kambosos had with Tio, you knew Tio looked like he was in trouble.
So
in the beginning, Tio kind of looked like, okay, he could win by decision. But then later on, You saw he was taking his punches. Kambosos
Listen.
was being smart towards the end. Then we
Kambosos-
noticed it. We noticed
listen.
it. You and me were texting back and forth.
Yes.
We noticed that Teal was kind of going off. He's never fought somebody
Listen,
like Kambosos.
Kambosa fought a masterful fight. He took you know, my guy Theo's best punches, and I know that Theo's thought that he won the fight, but I will tell you this as a fan
He did.
who is from
He did.
Brooklyn,
I'm
who
fan
is a
fan.
big supporter
Yeah,
of Theo and his camp,
He did it.
can tell you that he didn't win that fight.
I didn't, and I wasn't very fond of his interview.
I mean, but
didn't like it.
I think
He should've just
you
been
have
humble.
to. I think that you have to understand where he's coming from. This is his first loss, and obviously tensions are high. And I think that now if you were to talk to him now,
I
it would
think
be a
okay.
different interview.
Yeah.
That's what I would hope.
Yeah,
that's what I would hope.
Okay, yeah.
But going back to Garcia, I don't think me being Kambosa or you know and his team, I wouldn't take the Garcia fight just because Garcia, even though Garcia, you have to, you know, he is a very talented, up and coming lightweight, and he has a big following. You have to understand that Garcia is coming back from a 1 year layoff, and if I was Kambosa, I want to see you prove yourself.
Yeah, you're saying it from Kambosa's perspective.
Yes.
Now, if his team was like, "Oh, we believe in our guy,"
Yeah, but
and
you
this is gonna be the fight.
said that if Garcia's people could make the fight,
Yeah.
that you're saying that Kambosa would agree to it.
No, I'm saying that if they did agree to it, I'm saying
Okay.
if they were on, if Kambosos was like, I gave him a chance to take a tune-up fight, he didn't want to take it, so you know what, I'm gonna take it, and I'm gonna.
So how do you feel about that? Should Kambosa give him a chance?
I mean, listen.
I mean, right now,
I'm confident that.
But would you like to see that? Would you?
Absolutely, because I don't feel like Kambosos is gonna lose.
This is what I would like to
At the end of the
see.
day, it's on Garcia, and it's if his camp, as you mentioned the layoff, if his camp thinks he's ready to take that fight, because Kambosos is like, dude, you're coming for me. I'm the top guy,
Yeah, of
and
course.
you haven't fought for a year, so I'm giving you a chance to fight somebody else. So then that way, if you once you already fought somebody else, you can at least be prepared, and you know you have a chance to fight me. Don't.
So
just come
who do
in
you
and
think? Who do you think? Let's suppose Kambosa chooses, because you know there's a very heavy talks of him fighting Hanley. So you know in the UK, in Australia, obviously that would be a great fight to me to watch, because I've been wanting somebody to knock out Hanley for a long time.
Me too. You can
You
say
know,
it again. Me too. Me too.
I'm not a Hanley fan, and
Me too.
I feel
he's
that
boring. He's boring, and people always compare him to Mayweather. He's not fucking
He's
Mayweather.
not Mayweather
He can't
at
talk
all.
trash.
No.
He tries to act flashy, but he can't do it.
Yes.
He's not. He's literally boring. That's it.
I mean,
his
listen.
defensive game is ass too. That's another thing that people be like, oh, but he's like Mayweather when it comes to. He's not, bro. Like, stop trying to do that. Stop
Listen,
trying to disrespect Mayweather. No.
when Hanley fought his last fight, right? His last fight.
I can't believe I saw that shit.
Listen,
I was so
against Diaz.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You
bro.
can listen. First of all, obviously Diaz obviously didn't do what he needed to do to even get a draw in that fight. I mean, he lost that fight in my eyes from the beginning.
But I was just sitting there like, yo, what's going on?
But it just showed the weakness, and it just kind of put Hanley, which was the favorite to win the fight, it just put him in a perspective of you really seeing that he is lacking a lot of things.
So your question is what? If Kambosos fights Hanley?
My opinion, if Kambosa fights Hanley, which I do want to see,
Kambosos win.
Kambosa's washing him.
is win.
He's washing him.
If he can beat somebody like Tio,
Kambosa has the momentum. And Kambosa seems to be a very dangerous boxer now that he has the gold.
Hanley doesn't want that.
He's not going to give it up easy.
That's the thing. Hanley doesn't want that.
So I say, if Kambosa fights Hanley, he's going to wash him out, and he's going to fight him in Australia, in his hometown. He has all the momentum.
Yeah.
When it comes to Ryan coming back, Garcia coming back, I feel that he definitely needs a tuna fight.
Yeah.
If I was his camp, I would tell him.
But even if he does the tuna fight, he's still losing. In my opinion, he's still losing.
But I wouldn't say that, because you have to say who would be a tuna fight. Because you know damn well.
Because these tuna fights also be on
Yeah,
some shit.
you know damn well that he can fight a tuna boxer.
Yeah.
Basically, somebody that's supposed to be a tuna fight.
And
They end up winning.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is Ryan Garcia really ready for those sharks in the division?
No. That's why when he's talking, and I get it, it's promotion, you're just doing it to get the views or whatever. But understand that when you're somebody that at the end of the day, they're not gonna, your corner's not gonna fight for you. Your fans are not gonna fight for you. You really gotta put the gloves on. When you're talking shit about somebody like Tank, who's a heavy power hitter, and you really never faced a heavy power hitter like
Is he the A side in the lightweight division, in your opinion?
Who?
Tank.
Tank? Absolutely.
Got it. Who would you rank number 2? Or better yet, give me top 3 lightweight division in your opinion.
Okay. Well, obviously you already know number 1.
We got Tank.
Tank
Davis number 1.
I would have said Teal, but the thing
coming out of
that Kambosos fight, right now Kambosos is the top guy right now. So I would put number 2.
Okay.
And then it would probably have to be, I don't know. Again, it's
number. Give me one more name. Give me one more name.
So I'm gonna go with
Haney is in the third spot.
But because he's had more fights than Ron.
So this is my top 3. I'm gonna agree with you, and we're gonna go Tank number 1.
Mm-hmm. Does number 2 switch? Just tell me if it switches.
Number 2 does switch.
Okay.
I'm going with number 1.
Tank.
A lot of people are forgetting about one of the pound for pound greatest, Lomachenko. Lomachenko is back.
After he lost.
Lomachenko is back.
Yeah.
And here, he
decimated that dude.
Yes.
His fault. Yeah.
He definitely
was stupid.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was a very good fighter that he fought.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give you my top 3. I'm going to go with Tank.
I forgot about Lomachenko. You just opened my eyes.
Yes. I'm going with Tank. I'm going with Lomachenko, and I'm going with Kambosos. Those are my top 3 right now.
Yours is better than mine.
I'm going with those 3.
Because if I would have remembered Lomachenko,
a lot of people listen. Lomachenko.
But I would have put Kambosos number 2, Kevin number 2, and put Lomachenko number 3.
Okay, so you would have. Okay.
Yeah. Because I feel like he needs to fight somebody that gave him the same problems that Teal did, just to see if this time with those same problems he can overcome it.
Okay.
Because this is the first time you see Kambosos.
The reason why
what he did against Teal. We
the
never
reason
really
why
seen Kambosos like that.
Well, that's why I put
Lomachenko.
Well, that's why I put Kambosos number 3.
Okay.
Because
we've seen Lomachenko more.
Of course,
Okay.
I've seen Lomachenko destroy opponents.
To the point where he was telling his last fighter, like, "Yo, tell him that."
Yeah, come on, like, guy, throw in the towel. So
that's some disrespect.
He didn't get the name, Lomachenko for nothing.
Yeah.
So Kambosos, I think, is a very talented fighter, but we need to see more of him.
Yeah.
To go up there. So I'm gonna stick to my top 3. I'm going with Tank number 1, Lomachenko number 2.
I just don't
number
listen,
3.
like I said,
we're gonna go with some.
I've been told you about Tank since he's first. You know I've been a big Tank fan. I don't see nobody touching him. I mean, we've seen him get hit up, but we've seen him come back. And his power just.
And to touch up on somebody that might not make the list today, but in a couple of months, we don't know. The fighter Cruz that fought Tank.
Pitbull.
Yes.
Yeah, Pitbull.
That fighter, definitely. To be honest with you,
he gave Tank problems.
He lost that fight, but he won because the fans saw that this is somebody who's coming up.
Even though the comment section was dumb stupid.
Yes.
I don't understand how you would legitimately just say he won.
Yeah.
He didn't, but he gave him problems.
He gave him a very good fight, and I'm excited to see him again.
Yeah.
I think he's going to make some noise in the lightweight division. I think he's somebody that we all need to watch out for.
Like I said right now, if you want to talk about the list, you want to talk about even Lomachenko. I don't think Lomachenko is beating him. I'm sorry. As good as his IQ is.
Beating Cruz?
Tank.
Oh, beating Tank.
Yeah, if Tank said, "Yo, I want Lomachenko next month," type shit, I don't think he's beating. I really don't.
You're going with Tank all the way.
All the way. All the way.
He is basically going to clean house in the division.
Absolutely.
Okay. I mean, listen.
Absolutely.
It's not a bad pick.
He's proven he could
definitely
beat
is.
the guys that they've said
that matter.
I mean, he hasn't fought obviously the fighters we have on the list.
Yeah.
But then again, it seems to me like besides Lomachenko, these other guys are running.
Yeah.
Because he's been calling them out.
Yeah.
And then after that fight, after the fight with Pitbull, you have Ryan Garcia coming on talking about he doesn't want to fight me, But it's like, where have you been? I think you ducked from your last 2 fights, and one of them was Pacquiao.
Got it.
Like, if you think about it, Pacquiao should have been one of those guys that, yes, could have maybe beaten you, but you could have beaten him as well.
Okay.
And that could have been a fight for you that could have been like, okay, wait a minute. He's beating Pacquiao even though Pacquiao is older or whatever. The only reason I said that fight, if it would have happened, would have been like a good fight was because he beat Thurman.
All right,
Remember,
so
Thurman was on some.
Oh, I mean, Thurman definitely
could have.
So here's this one. Here's this question that I have for you. Move into a different division. This is something that we all want to see, and we've all wanted to see this for a long time now. And this is the fight between Errol Spence and Crawford. Now,
Crawford.
who do you got?
Crawford.
You're going for Crawford. You're going with Crawford. Crawford. Any reason why? Why do you give Crawford the advantage?
I think Spence is mostly like a jab fighter.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't. I mean, he's quick, but he doesn't. I think with Crawford, kind of. He's more of like. I'm not gonna compare him to Canelo, but if you look at Canelo fights in the beginning, he's just testing the fighter out.
Yeah.
Like he's
takes him a couple rounds to
take
get
a couple
started.
hits just to be like, okay,
I got this. I felt this.
That's Crawford.
Got
If you look at the Porter fight, Porter was kind of getting him, but then towards the end, he was like, bam, like I got my shots now because now I know how you move.
No, yeah, the second half of the fight was totally different from the first half.
So
how do you have it? You have Crawford over Spence.
Decision. I'm gonna give Spence his credit. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he has his record for a reason, and he's talked about for a reason. I'm gonna give him his credit, but I don't think Crawford's knocking him out, but I don't think he's beating.
Okay, so now here's a good question to move to something a little bit different in the boxing world. Jake Paul. We have this guy. Oh, wait, let me finish. Let me put it to you like this. We have this guy, Jake Paul, and a lot of people want to hate him. A lot of people say that he's good for the sport. A lot of people say that he's not good for the sport. So this is where I'm at with this. This is the question that I got for you. Jake Paul has proven that he does bring, fans to the sport. Whether they're fans from YouTube or just boxing fans that just want to see, let me see what this guy's about. He has proven that he can basically put the asses on the seats. Obviously his last fight with Woodley, which he obviously got a knockout, he had a full-packed arena. So, question, good for the sport, bad for the sport?
I mean, kudos to him because a win is a win, and it's not easy to get. I mean, even though we like, for example, I fought, even though that wasn't nothing crazy, you could just tell the energy. It takes a lot out of you.
Of course.
No matter what you're doing, whether you're fighting in the actual ring or you're fighting in the back. So I kind of know what you have to put yourself through to be in this shape or whatever. So good for him that he's actually taking it serious. That he's actually showing a little bit of respect to the sport, whatever. Okay. But at the same time, the reason that I'm not gonna say it's not good for the sport because it's still boxing at the end of the day. He's drawing eyes. Yeah. But my thing with him is I don't take him serious because until you fight a legitimate boxer who's never done anything but boxing, and who's been there more than you have, and that has fought legitimate fights. And you can fight somebody like that, you can actually beat them, and I will give you your credit. But you have fought people that are either charity case, somebody that is only limited to the hands and used to be limited to everything, like Tyron Woodley.
You got it.
And that's it.
So basically,
you fought Nate Robinson, no experience whatsoever. You fought Ben Askren, who, like I said, was only limited to his hands.
And it wasn't over his prime by a lot.
Exactly, it wasn't limited to his elbow, like he was used to in the MMA. So that's different. People think, oh no, it's not different. No, it's different.
Of course,
now there's different rules that you have to be. No, it's different. You fought who else? Woodley twice. And again, like I said, Woodley, I'll give him whatever. If you want credit for the second fight, I'll give because they fought the first time, so you kind of should have known a little bit. So Woodley was asked anyway. So
good for the sport, bad for the sport.
I'll say good for the sport, but only for the fact that, like I said, he's drawing eyes. As far as the competition was,
as far as you seeing him as a legitimate,
he's not.
He's out.
He's not. Shut the fuck up. Stop talking shit.
Got it.
I'm gonna just say
this is what I would say. When it comes to Jake.
And another thing too, before you go, him calling Canelo out and all these other boxers, you better stop playing. Because if
Yeah.
Canelo really wanted to, just for an easy check, he fucked it. He fuck you up.
Yeah,
He
definitely.
fuck you up.
I mean, we can listen.
So
We can
relax,
agree.
bro.
We can agree.
I don't care if it's for attention. I don't care if it's for content. If it's just for views,
You should not
it
mention
doesn't matter.
Canelo.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't
Got
matter.
it.
There's a realm that if you want that, just know.
Well, I don't think that. I think that Canelo, being a very respectful boxer that respects the game, I don't think that would ever happen.
Yeah, because
But at the same time, I want to give shout out to Jake Paul because I feel that even though that he is, bringing eyes to the sport, new eyes at that, to a sport that many people say that was basically dimming, and lacking of stars, lacking of stars, and a lot of people saying, with all the problems when it comes to promoters not doing fights and things like that, he's bringing new eyes to the sport.
Yeah.
But I would say kudos to him when it comes to, for example, what he's doing and what his team is doing with fighters, giving fighters a chance that never got it. He's doing something great with obviously one of the best female fighters. Her name just escaped my mind, but obviously, what's her name? The one that just fought in his last fight.
she's a female.
The female that
Talking
just
about,
fought.
Shields.
No, not Shields. She's from New York, I believe. From the Bronx, Puerto Rican girl. I mean, whatever the case may be, he's opening the door to fighters that never got a chance, and he's putting fighters under his card.
I mean,
like I said, kudos to that.
That's my point.
I could
As far as,
agree.
like, drawing eyes.
I could agree with you that obviously, if he wants to be considered a real boxer, he needs to fight real boxers.
Yeah.
I mean, that's simple as that.
That's my point.
Simple as
Why
that.
am I gonna take somebody serious like that when you're out here talking about nobody could beat you?
Yeah, but you haven't fought a boxer.
But you haven't fought nobody legitimate.
Okay.
Even you calling out Conor McGregor, bro. I don't even want to see that.
Yeah.
Kudos to Conor McGregor or whatever, but we've seen what McGregor could do against Mayweather. That was some bullshit.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to call him. Why don't you step in the cage?
So who would be a fighter that you would give Jake Paul his props on fighting and maybe beating or just giving him a good fight? Who would want to see Jake Paul fight as his first real fight against a boxer?
As his first real?
Yes. I mean, there's a lot of names that have been thrown
There's
out
a
there.
lot.
You got Chavez Jr.
You got Chavez Jr., Paul Malignaggi if he wants to come out.
You know-
he's not the same.
Yeah.
Shit. He's very cool with Ryan.
Yeah, I mean,
Even though Ryan, I think, will wash him, let's be
Yeah.
honest, but he's very cool with Ryan.
I mean, but obviously,
But like I
those
said,
are
guys-
two separate weight classes.
Guys that have.
Would you be happy if, because, I've seen that a lot of people talk about Julio Cesar Chavez. And Julio Cesar Chavez
yeah.
has had his struggles, and we all know this.
Yeah.
But would that be a fight that the fans, you think, would want to see?
Yes, because even though Julio Cesar Chavez has had his struggles, that's somebody that's had a lot of experience.
Yeah.
That
Who has
isn't-
won?
isn't
He's a
the
boxer.
same- Isn't the same, but can still throw.
Yeah.
And I feel like when it comes to somebody like that, Julio Cesar Chavez would probably be like, all right, I gotta stop all the bullshit.
Got
Because
it.
after I got embarrassed by
By
Anderson
Silva?
are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like I literally just ruined my legacy.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
So if you
So
could
that
be
wouldn't be a
somebody
fight
like
that you
I'll
would
be
like
like,
to see.
yeah, I'll be like, I'll tip my cap to you. I'll tip
If he
my
was
cap
to
you.
beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.,
Because you fought a legitimate boxer.
that you would consider him at that point, you just starting your real career.
Yeah.
Okay.
But after that, it can't be on some
Back
fight.
to-
Yeah, no, you're not
back
doing
to
it. You're
fighting
not just
celebrities
gonna just be
and-
like, yo, this guy's just for show, bro. He's not. It's nothing. Because how are you gonna do that and you go back to finding other people that really have no experience?
I mean, listen, to wrap up the Jake Paul conversation, I think
he should go in the
Jake
cage.
Paul is an entertainer. I think Jake Paul, obviously, he has the fan base,
Good for him.
and definitely he knows how to make money, because obviously he's made good money not being a boxer in the boxing game.
But don't be calling out these UFC fighters when you know they're taking on a different type of aspect of fighting.
Got it.
If you're calling out guys like McGregor, Nate Diaz, talking about you can beat Usman, so fight them in their thing. Why are they gonna come? Why are you gonna talk all that shit and have them come to your spot when that's not what they do.
Well, I mean, I can answer this because Jake has said it very times, and it's because UFC fighters don't get paid.
That's cool, but if you're doing it for money, you're still gonna get a check regardless.
Yeah, but I mean, to be honest with you, getting a $400,000 check and getting a $10 million check are two different things.
Two different things.
Yes,
but I'm listen that's
definitely something that we can.
If from what we've seen right now, if he gets another fight with somebody, that $10 million check comes like that.
Yeah.
With that,
well, I mean, I can
that $4,000 check on the UFC shouldn't mean anything to you, and the only thing that should be on your mind is proving people wrong. Because if you could beat somebody like a Nate Diaz or whatever, which I know he won't, but if he could be somebody like that, then instead of looking at from the aspect of him not getting a big check, it could be like, damn, like he literally was on Twitter talking shit and he just beat him.
I don't think that that's something that we would see. I don't see that happening.
No, we won't see that.
Jake Paul going into the octagon. I mean, I think Shields was she's the only boxer that's done that and made the switch, and she won her first fight. Yes, definitely kudos to Shields. Definitely, she lost her second fight, and I feel like obviously, you know, she was still learning, and she's in a learning process. She's back into boxing now. But to say that you went into that world, and to say that you're the only athlete, male or female, to do that transition, kudos to Shields. Definitely, that's something that took a lot of guts to do, and you know, she should definitely get, you know, her props for that. But listen, definitely, you know, it's been a pleasure to share the mic with you.
Yeah,
I think we touched up on a lot of interesting things.
I appreciate you coming
on. Of course. Thank you for having me.
First interview ever. I hope I got some more aspects of like some more guys that I want to interview. That can possibly take this brand to a whole nother level. You know, I'm trying to use my advantages, and not even my advantages, just the help that I could get as far as that, and just take it to the next level.
Well, I mean, we're definitely.
And then hopefully in a couple of years we can have the stars that we talk about now on this.
Well, of course, you definitely have to manifest and visualize success.
But like I said, I appreciate you being on. Everybody go follow the Brooklyn Bully Cartel page if you guys wanna. You know, he's gonna be having puppies very soon. So if you guys ever want, you know, a puppy, you know, American Bully. Especially the breadwinner right here is a chocolate tri nano.
Yeah, we're gonna have Frenchies pretty soon.
Yes, that's another one. That's
we're going into that. We're going into that market. We haven't still decided